Hi everyone, my name is Robbie Copas, and the topic I will be talking about is crocodilians during the Triassic period. So the article that I chose to do my research paper on is called Tanks of the Triassic, New Crocodile Ancestor. This paper was published by the University of Texas at Austin that was published in March of this year. This article talks about how a new species of crocodile ancestors was recently discovered by Dr. William Rays. It talks about his new discovery made on a fossil found over 30 years ago that was different enough to make a new species. And this new species is called Garzapelta mulleri. And as you can see in this picture, this is Garzapelta mulleri. So the reason why I chose to do this article is because I've always been interested in not just dinosaurs, but other prehistoric species as well. I think it's interesting that new species of prehistoric creatures are being discovered even today, and seeing how they are like animals that are still alive today. But I also like crocodilians, and I'm very curious to see how their ancestors evolved over millions of years ago. So I'm going to talk a little more about each of these topics, but overall, Garzapelta is a new type of adosaur that was recently discovered. So adosaurs are an ancient creature that are known for their osteoderm covered bodies, meaning they're covered in scales. They're triangular scales and their short, strong limbs. Adosaurs are very similar to crocodiles, except they had thicker armor and duller teeth. Garzapelta is distantly related to other adosaurs, and understanding where they fit in the evolution of crocodile ancestors have been very challenging. So as I said before, Garzapelta is part of the ancient adosaur family and had a lot of the same traits that other adosaurs have. So they branched off a certain type of adosaur called the Pseudosuchian, which scientists think is one of the first ancestors of modern day crocodiles. So scientists describe Garzapelta as a similar build to modern day crocodiles, but with the armor of an armadillo. And as you can see in these two pictures, they look more like armadillos than they do crocodiles here because of their shells and their low covered bodies. So they were also most a herbivore, which is very different from today's crocodiles because crocodiles only eat meat today. So there's a lot of research being done on this new species, and the first research paper I'll be talking about is called Garzapelta mulleri, a new adosaur, which was written by William Rays. So Dr. Rays talks about where Garzapelta evolved from. He believes that they came from another type of adosaur called the Paratypothorax, which is right here. Paratypothorax looked more like a large armadillo than a crocodile and had a much flatter, bony body than other adosaurs at the time. So Dr. Rays also talks about how Garzapelta had similar traits to Desmatosuchians, which look more like modern day crocodiles. In this picture here, it looks more like a crocodile than a armadillo here because it's got the long tail and it's like becoming a low belly dragger and kind of having the shape of a crocodile. So as continued with the current research, scientists think that Garzapelta is an example of convergent evolution, which is when two different species evolve to have similar traits. Another example of convergent evolution is birds and bats, both evolved to be able to fly. So Garzapelta converged to have its lateral osteoderms meaning their scales grow in straight lines, which is similar to Desmatosaucians, because you can see that they have straight lines on its back, kind of almost like a modern day crocodile. So it also had a dorsal eminence or spikes coming out of its back like others, Desmatosaucians. So these made it have similar traits to modern day crocodiles as well, while also sharing traits with the paratypothorax, making an example of convergent evolution. So Dr. Reyes also says that Garzapelta's evolution is very confusing because researchers don't know where it falls on the Aedosaur family tree. Since it has traits like a lot of different species of Aedosaurs, it's hard to know where it fits in Aedosaur evolution. In the quote right here by Dr. William Reyes is, Garzapelta mulleri highlights the limitations of our matrix and character list as it exhibits a degree of convergence that our current analysis cannot resolve. So this shows that there's still a lot to learn about ancient crocodilians. So the second research article that I will be talking about is called Origins of Slow Growth on the Crocodilian Stem Lineage and was written by Jennifer Botha. She talks about how crocodiles evolved from ancient creatures with fast grow rates. So modern day crocodiles are known for their very slow grow rates. So this was very surprising to me. So Botha says that the pseudosaucians like the Garzapelta had the fastest growing bone types. She also says that the faster growing crocodile ancestors all went extinct in the Triassic, while the slow growing crocodilomorphs lived through the Jurassic period. As you can see, this is a crocodilian here and that's a dinosaur here, so you can tell that it's the Jurassic period. So continue with this is, while this helps us understand how modern day crocodiles got their traits, there's still things we don't know about. For example, we still don't know when these traits developed in crocodile ancestors, and it's still a big mystery to scientists. Scientists are working on figuring out if certain traits developed before other ones, like whether crocodilomorphs became semi-aquatic first or had slow-growing bones first. But there's still a lot of gaps in what we know about crocodile ancestors, and scientists are doing their best to learn about them. So in conclusion, what I have learned is that crocodile ancestors have had different traits before they became intelligent water creatures that they are today. I also learned that species like Garzapelta were more heavily armored than our modern day crocodiles. Garzapelta and other aedosaurs were more omnivorous than crocodiles, which is very surprising because our modern day crocodiles only eat meat and prey today than vegetables. So scientists are still trying to figure out how these crocodilian ancestors evolved throughout time. But I think it's very important to understand crocodile ancestors so we can learn about how and why they develop certain traits. So as you can see that 7 out of 24 existing species are critically endangered, and learning about how their ancestors changed may help us understand how our modern day crocodiles may respond to change in the future, which is why it's important to continue learning about them. But thank you everyone for your time, and I hope you learned something new today. And this is my Works Cited page where I found my articles and pictures of these crocodilian ancestors.